All right, let's jump right in. We're going to be talking about a psychological framework that's not just sold millions of copies, but that people say is completely and totally life-altering. Seriously.
I mean, look at this quote. My whole perspective flipped within a week. That's a huge claim, right? So we're going to unpack the core ideas behind this, which come from Adlerian psychology, made famous by the book The Courage to be Disliked. We need to see what's going on here that has such a mind-boggling effect on people.
Okay, first up. Now, most of us, and I think it's fair to say this, we believe our past defines our present. What happened to you as a kid, what you've been through, that shapes who you are today. Makes sense, right? Well, Adlerian psychology comes along and just flips that idea completely on its head. So here's the fundamental shift. On one side, you've got etiology. That's the common view. It says the past determines the present. You suffer because of trauma, because of things that happened to you. But on the other side, Adler's view is called teleology, and this is wild. It says your goal determines your present. You're not suffering from past experiences, you're using those experiences to suit a current purpose. So instead of asking what caused this, the question becomes what's the goal of this? Adler puts it like this. We are not determined by our experiences, but the meaning we give them is self-determining. Think about that. It's like our past experiences are just a bunch of building blocks we're handed. But we're the ones who decide what to build with them. We aren't prisoners of the past. We are the architects of its meaning.
And this is where it gets, well, really controversial. This leads to Adler's most jarring claim. Trauma does not exist. Now hold on. To be super clear, he's not saying that terrible, awful things don't happen. Of course they do. What he's arguing is that trauma isn't some external force that controls your life forever. He says we are not defined or determined by those events. And yeah, you can imagine that's a tough pill for many people to swallow.
And rightly so. There's a lot of pushback. I mean, look at this critical review. It basically says denying trauma is what horrible things like rape culture are built on. Critics say this view isn't just wrong, it's dangerous. It sounds a lot like victim blaming, and it seems to completely ignore all the scientific evidence we have about the very real physical effects trauma has on the brain and body. Okay, so let's move on to the next big idea from Adler, and you'll see how these pieces start to connect. The claim is this: all of your problems, every single one, are interpersonal relationship problems. Sounds crazy, right? But here's the logic. Adler says to get rid of one's problems, all one can do is live in the universe all alone. Think about it for a second. If you were literally the only person in the entire universe, could you feel lonely? Could you feel inferior? Who would you be inferior to? All these feelings, anxiety, shame, inferiority, they only exist because there are other people around. Our problems are born in that social context. So, the solution, according to Adler, is to change how we see our relationships. Most of us operate on a vertical axis. It's hierarchical. It's competitive. You're constantly judging. Am I better than them? Are they better than me? It's all about rivals and winning. And that, he says, is where anxiety comes from. The goal is to shift to a horizontal relationship. Everyone is on an equal plane. People aren't your competition, they're your comrades. You're all just walking together.
So if all our problems come from our relationships, how do we fix them? Well, Adler offers a tool that is surprisingly simple. It's called the separation of tasks.
And the whole concept boils down to asking yourself one single question. Whose task is this? How do you know? You ask, who is ultimately going to receive the result of the choice that is made? That's it. If the consequence lands on you, it's your task. If it lands on them, it's their task. Simple as that.
So look at this breakdown. My task is what I can control. Living by my own values, choosing my own path, doing my job well. Their task is what I can't control, whether someone likes me for it, my parents' disappointment, my boss's mood. You see, you can do your best, but how they react, that's their task, not yours. It's that old saying, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Your task is leading the horse. The drinking part, that's the horse's task.
And think about what is not your task. Making everyone like you? Nope. Preventing others from getting upset? Not your job. Changing someone else's mind? Good luck with that. For anyone who's ever felt just completely exhausted by trying to get everyone's approval or managing everyone else's emotions, this is an incredibly freeing idea. Okay, so this whole separation of tasks thing, it leads us right to the title of the book, and to what Adler says is the true and maybe difficult cost of real freedom. Here it is, freedom is being disliked by other people. Wow. If you're truly living by your own principles and you're only focused on your tasks, you have to accept that some people won't like it, and that's their task. It's their right to not like you. If you're trying to make sure nobody dislikes you, you're not free. You're living your life according to their rules. So in this way of thinking, being disliked isn't a failure. It's actually the opposite. It's proof. It's a sign that you are exercising your freedom and living by your own principles. It means you're not bending over backwards just to get someone else's approval.
Now, this doesn't mean you should become a jerk or just isolate yourself. It's actually the opposite, which is kind of paradoxical. The goal here is to achieve what Adler called community feeling. It's this deep sense of belonging, of seeing others as your comrades. And you can only get there when you stop trying to control how they feel about you. When you let go of that, you're finally free to build real, honest, horizontal connections.
Okay, so we've looked at the past, we've looked at relationships. The final piece of the puzzle is changing how we look at life itself.
Most of us see life as a line. You start here, and you're trying to get there, to graduation, to a promotion, to retirement. It's all about the destination. Adler says, no, that's all wrong. Life isn't a line, it's a series of moments. It's like a dance. And what's the point of a dance? It's not to get to the other side of the room. The point is the dancing itself, right here, right now. Each step is the whole point.
And this dance, this way of living, is held up by 3 pillars. First, self-acceptance. Just accepting yourself, flaws and all, the stuff you can't change. Second, confidence in others. Choosing to see people as your comrades, your partners, unconditionally. And third, contribution to others. Finding your own worth, not because someone praises you, but because you feel inside that you are being useful to someone, that you are making a contribution.
And really, that brings us to the core of it all. This quote says everything. No matter what has occurred in your life up to this point, it should have no bearing at all on how you live from now on. The power of this whole philosophy is its incredible, relentless focus on right now. The past is just a story you tell yourself. The future hasn't happened. The only thing that's real, the only place you can actually live, is in this present moment. So, that leaves us with one last question to think about. If life is just a series of moments, a dance, and your past really doesn't have any power over you, what dance will you choose to live right now?